Pacem and Terris. Peace on earth, which all men of every era have most eagerly yearned for, can be firmly established and sustained only if the order laid down by God be dutiful observed. Pope John the 23rd, April 11th, 1963. Historical setting. Pacem and Terris, meaning peace on earth, was written by Pope John the 23rd, now Blessed John the 23rd, in 1963 on April 11th. The world to which he wrote was in a state of turmoil. 2 years before Pacem and Terris in 1961, the Berlin Wall had been built in order to divide the East and West Germany. On either side of the wall, the life developed differently, controlled by opposing rules having both suspicion and mistrust. Just 6 months before the encyclical, at the beginning of the Second Vatican Council, the Cuban Missile Crisis happened. Humanity, many believed, was condemned to live indefinitely in that precarious condition of Cold War, hoping against hope that neither an act of aggression nor an accident would trigger the worst war in human history. About the author. Pope John XXIII was known as Good Pope John, and the most beloved pope in history, not only by Catholics, but also non-Catholics. What Pope John XXIII is best known for is the calling of the Second Vatican Council, labeling it as a new Pentecost. He wrote Pacem and Terris. His pontificate was during the arms race between the U.S. and Soviet Union, known as the Cold War. He had been in war himself. World War I, he was drafted into the Italian War as a chaplain. As nuncio during World War II, he made various efforts to save various refugees of the Holocaust, mostly Jewish people, from the Nazis. All of those things had a great effect on him. This is why he wrote this encyclical. Now there's a video about him on YouTube, and the link is right down there. If you want to go check that out, it gives you a little more information about Pope John the 23rd. Basic outline of Pacem and Terris. The first part of the encyclical establishes the relationship between individuals and humankind, about the issues of human rights and moral duties. The second part talks about the relationship between man and state, discussing mostly about the authority of the state. The third part talks about the need for equality among nations and for the state to be subject to rights and duties which individuals must follow. The fourth and final part talks about the need for better relations among nations that will result in them helping each other. It ends with the urging of Catholics to assist non-Christians and non-Catholics in political and social aspects. Truth, justice, love, freedom. Pope John XXIII identified the essential conditions for the peace and four precise requirements of the human spirit: truth, justice, love, and freedom. Truth will build peace if every individual sincerely acknowledges not only his rights, but also his own duties towards others. Justice will build peace if in practice and everyone respects the rights of others and actually fulfills the duties towards them. Love will build peace if people feel the needs of others as their own and share what they have with others, especially the values of mind and spirit which they possess. Freedom will build peace and make it thrive if, in the choice of the means to that end, people act according to reason and assume responsibility for their actions. Human rights. Man has a right to live, bodily integrity, and means necessary for development to food, clothing, medical care, rest, necessary social services, care in ill health, and disability, stemming from his work in widowhood, old age, and unemployment, or whenever, through no fault of his own, he has deprived the means of livelihood. Number 2, he has a right to be respected, to a good name, to freedom in investigating the truth and within the limits of moral and order and the common good. Number 3, He has the right to be respected to the benefits of culture, a good general education, technical or professional training consistent with the degree of educational development in this country, to engage in advanced studies, to, as far as possible, positions of responsibility, consummate with his talent and skill. Number 4. Among man's rights is that being able to worship God according to his conscience and profess his religion in private and in public. Number 5. Human beings who have the right to choose for themselves the life which appeals to them, to marry and found a family in which man and woman have equal rights, or not to marry. Number 6. Man has the right to the opportunity to work and to take personal initiative in it. Conditions in it must not be such as to weaken physical or moral fiber. Number 7. Man has a right to engage in economic activities, suffered to his degree of responsibility to wage in accordance with justice to the ownership of private property, including productive goods. Number 8. Men have a right to form associations with their fellows to confer on society associates the type of organization best calculated to achieve their aims. Number 9. Every human being has a right to freedom of movement and residence in his own state, and, where just reasons favor it, to emigrate to other countries. Number 10. Man has a right to take an active part in public life and to make his own contribution to his common welfare. Number 11. As a human person, he is entitled to the legal protection of rights, effective, unbiased, and just. Are we excited?